Hey guys, I just wanted to do a quick little intro to this video. It's here in SF at the FAME venue, and it is a excellent introduction to literally like 10 different block producers, 5 of which are here in the Bay Area and 6 of which are in China. The 6 that you get introduced to are just quick little snippets, and some of them, the audio is really awful. I apologize. I might cut those out actually, just because they're not audible at all. And some of them are all in Chinese, but you get subtitles. So if you want to hear what the block producers in China are saying, take a look at that part. That part's about the middle. And the rest is block producers in the Bay Area of California. Anyways, thanks for watching.
The EOS mainnet is about to launch next month. Let's give it up for that.
All right. So I'm just going to give a little overview of the agenda today. We're going to be talking a little bit about why EOS. We're also going to be talking a little bit about token registration and a mobile wallet that's being made for EOS. Voting and VP selection, and also some launch basics.
So the really exciting thing tonight, guys, is we have several block producer candidates in the house that are helping to coordinate this event. So it's kind of quadruple hosted, I would say. We've got ourselves, EOS Blocksmith. We have EOS Tribe that came all the way from Salt Lake City, Utah. Let's give it up for Eugene. We've got EOS Silicon Valley, Bo's team. Let's give it up for EOS Silicon Valley.
Go Silicon Valley.
All right, and then we got the sponsors of the Tulip Conference and the man behind the EOS SF Meetup Group, G. Sabalingo.
That's right.
All right, cool.
Awesome. So we're just going to begin with a little greeting video from Thomas Cox himself.
Specifically for our meetup tonight. Other tab. Just the other tab in Safari. Oh, circle of death.
Okay, so we might have to let that load. In the meantime, we're going to have G come up and talk a little bit about the Tulip Conference, which is coming up June 7th through the 13th. So, G, come on up.
Hi. Again, another round of intro. You guys already know me now, so I don't have to show myself. So we actually hosted a EOS a meetup last year, pretty during tail end, huge crowd, and and then we kind of went a little quiet because we're just building the blockchain, right? Building the network, and I don't know if you guys know, Dawn 4 is out, I think. So I don't know how many of you guys are following either GitHub or following the news cycle. I don't know what the crypto news cycle is, but in a nutshell, we're hosting this awesome conference. We're going to make it 5 folds like the meetup. We're expecting about 1,000 people in San Francisco. We're right on the neck of Apple WWDC. We're expecting a ton of people to be in San Francisco. So we want to launch, we want to be a part of, I don't know if you know, EOS mainnet's going to be a community launch. The community's going to launch the network, right? So like the EOS Blocksmiths, EOS Tribe, EOS Silicon Valley, these are block producers who are going to be standing up the network, and it's going to be an interesting thing. It's going to be something very different. I can't really explain it, but we really don't know. But it's exciting times, right? Exciting times for the EOS community. So we're hosting this conference. This conference is, Tulip is all focused on next-gen blockchain. As I told you, we're looking at third generation and beyond. So we have a great lineup of speakers who have extensive depth in the space. Academics, people who have built blockchains, who have expertise in standing up these big network, like Vinay Gupta, who was one of the co-promoters of Ethereum is going to be there. We have David Moss. We're going to have Thomas Cox from EOS going to be there. We're going to have like some great thought leaders, and not only thought leaders, we're going to have implementers and people who have a diverse set of background come together and really chart the course for the next wave of this technology. So I know it's been a little bit slumpy and it's been gloomy in the crypto space, but trust me, the big wave is coming. It's all about riding the wave. That's what I always say. So EOS is going to be that big wave, and we all want to be a part of it. So without taking any more oxygen, I'll leave the floor back to the EOS Blocksmith guys, and let's get on to the show. Woo.
Five people.
So without taking up too much of your time talking about us, I just want to say that as a block producer candidate, we're really when we sat down to think about who we wanted to be as a block producer, two things came to mind. We want to be truthful, we want to be direct with the whole EOS community and kind of tell you guys exactly where we stand on different issues as the EOS community moves forward. And we want to be completely transparent, radically transparent. If you look at a lot of the other delegated proof of stake systems out there, like Lisk and ART, you see a lot of voter kickbacks, essentially delegates or witnesses that are kicking back, paying the voters. And we're not seeing the transparency that I would want out of these block producers or these nodes or these delegates, whatever you want to call them. And we want to change the paradigm. We want you guys to see exactly where those block producer rewards go, which is mostly going to be putting as much as we can back into the community. But we want to be free of any financial ties to any other entities in the whole EOS ecosystem. Essentially, we want you to know exactly where everything is going and what we're doing at all times, and that we're doing the best for the EOS network. And that's really what we're all about. And obviously putting on social engagement, getting the discourse going about EOS, events like this, even though we're having all kinds of technical difficulties, are part of what we want to do is get the EOS community together, kind of educate the community, and get things excited about EOS.
Yeah, so we will plan to continue to have meetups. This is us at Consensus NYC 2018, just spreading the EOS word out there, telling everyone we know about EOS. If you want to know more information about us, please go to our website at eosblocksmith.io. You can also find us on Twitter, Telegram, Medium, and Steemit.
All right, so we have, tonight we actually have some really exciting little videos from EOS Block Producers candidates across the globe that wanted to say hi to our meetup specifically tonight. They made some videos, but given our technical constraints tonight, I think we're going to move on to the next section of our program, which is EOS Tribes. Eugene Ludwig is going to be talking about EOS token registration, because that's a huge part of getting ready for the EOS mainnet launch. It's happening in just a few weeks now. So without further ado, I'll have Eugene come up to the stage.
Thank you, guys.
You want to talk about what
okay.
research means? Start off with
Yeah, so I'll start introducing myself first. I'm actually half local. I'm ex-Californian. I've been living in Bay Area since 2000. I finished San Francisco State University. I worked for many companies here, startups. Right? So recently, about 7 years ago, I moved to Utah. That's where I am currently, but I travel to San Francisco Bay Area frequently. Have many friends here, so I understand local culture. Right? So I'm not just a guy from Utah. But what we are trying to build, a community. We started a meetup. We were one of the first meetups on EOS in Salt Lake City that I helped to organize. We had the first one in December. Then we teamed up with EOS Dallas, and we formed what is now EOS Tribe. EOS Tribe is a block producer candidate, and we actively engage with other block producer candidates in running test nets, testing the latest EOS software. We practically have worldwide community, very smart guys around the globe. pretty much any continent, any country you can imagine, Argentina, Ukraine, Africa, pretty much everywhere else. It's the only continent, I don't know, it's probably Antarctica, so we don't have it. But everywhere else we have somebody. And it's been grown into a big family, really. It's a great community. I really enjoy working for the US community. What we are building is much bigger than just blockchain. What we are building a new digital role. We are building a new governance layer that will become something way bigger than all of us combined, that may persist beyond what our lifetime is. It can grow into something much bigger than all of us can imagine. And we are relatively a small group here today, right? Believe me, 5-10 years from now, you will look back and you'll be proud that you were a part of something that grew up into something big, that everybody will be talking about. And we will live in and by EOS law and governance. It will become a new system that will exist in parallel of all systems that will slowly just fade away, and it will just take place, and it will become a new reality. So we are building a future together. And so that's a big vision. And as a block producer candidate, our main goal is to make this launch successful. Obviously we want to be elected, but it's secondary concern. The primary concern to make EOS a success, and we as a community are working hard on making it a success. One of the biggest questions that I get sometimes on my meetups in Salt Lake City, people confused, people are not sure, I bought these tokens on exchange, how do I register, right? And token holders, they play an important role in the community. And it's not just us block producers. Once we go live, it will take 15% of all tokens to vote for block producers before blockchain will kick in and start producing blocks. Until that time, all blocks are frozen, and if we don't get 15% vote, we effectively have not launched the blockchain. So that's why I'm here. That's why I want to talk about, registration process, because I believe it's very important for token holders. So I have to get back to my laptop and drive a presentation, but I just wanted to explain the backstory. Here's the backstory. I gave this presentation initially. You have to understand the concept of proof of work versus proof of stake. The proof of work is a concept that was used for Bitcoin and Ethereum, and it became it's a good idea. It was a good starting point, right? We actually prove it on the example of Bitcoin and Ethereum that it works, that it provides a distributed trust on the network without nodes knowing each other, just based on majority vote and consensus. But that protocol proof of work, it had a limitation. So limitation is how many transactions you can process in a second. You have a big network. Most of the nodes on a blockchain network for like Bitcoin, they just based on the algorithm, and I don't want to get on the technical details. I have a presentation separate for it. It might take me 2 hours just to go over the concept. But in simple terms, it works by computing lots of hashes, trillions of hashes. There's a specialized hardware to just do those hashing algorithms until we solve those blocks. Bitcoin network currently spends more electricity on supporting that network than an average size European company. And all the computing power goes to, waste, in my opinion, right? Like why would we waste so much electricity, like a European country, to provide a new age currency to the world? It kind of defeats the purpose, right? And that's the limitation, number of transactions, and how much electricity we waste basically on just useless hash calculations. Proof of stake is the next evolution, basically, of a protocol. It takes it to the next level. And proof of stake allows us to really scale the blockchain. That's when we can go from 5, 10, 20 transactions per second to 1,000 transactions per second to 2,000 transactions per second and more. With a distributed proof of stakes, we can potentially go to 1 million transactions per second, which is well beyond what our current financial mainstream media needs. Last time I heard Visa supports about around 2,000 transactions. So with a proof of stake, the algorithm is different. We don't have a big mining pools like we have with Bitcoin, with huge specialized hardware to do hashes. Instead, we have a limited number geographical distributed nodes, which are called block producers, and they run software which is called EOS. They run it with a special permissions to sign blocks, right? And we pick we have candidates, which is around 100, 50 right now, maybe 200 already, of candidates which are, which are putting hardware resources and who have technical expertise to actually run and maintain specialized node and provide services. And then users are, based on the information that block producers provide, can elect 21 block producers. So they elect 21 active block producers who will be signing blocks. And it still provides, even with 21 block producers, we have a high degree of a distribution that we have with Bitcoin currently, where big pools, like there are 3 companies who have the biggest mining pools which support basically 60% of operations on Bitcoin network. So, and us as one block producer candidates, EOS Drive and others, we basically run for that right to become one of those block producers. We have 21 active, and then we will have, last number I heard, 49 standby block producers, which will be ready to take a place in case if one of the 21 falls out or goes offline, anything happens. So this way we have a system which will be fault tolerant and will support the blockchain. And what those nodes will also provide, they will provide computing resources that will host distributed applications, which means we will provide API against that blockchain, we will provide databases, we will provide all that infrastructure required for developers to build distributed applications, to deploy distributed applications. And, so I see much more value in this network of distributed nodes and computing power used to build next Facebook, to build next Airbnb, which will be distributed applications. That's what we are trying to build. That's what the role of block production, block producers is. Thank you. Hopefully it makes sense.
Is there a place where I can go see what the 150 candidates want?
Yeah, yes, obviously. It's, I can provide a link.
EOSGo.io.
Yeah.
EOSGo.io.
Yeah, EOS Go is a good resource. It became a mainstream kind of outlet for block producers and communities as a whole. EOS Go became something like LinkedIn / Facebook for EOS community. It's social function. So, I won't go through this presentation. So this is our CS drive. One of the posts that I was working on for registering your tokens. Basically, here's a challenge. We are all here in US, right? And the story for us is different from Thank you. So we are all in US, and as we all know, US, China, UK are not allowed to participate in the EOS distribution. But we are not, nothing wrong with buying EOS tokens on the exchange, and you can do it. The tricky part becomes when you want to register your EOS tokens, the page that makes it really easy is under the same protected page area of that distribution pages. So you can do it as long as you're outside of the United States or through other technical means which I won't talk about. But we developed a legal way to do it in EOS or any other, through simple steps that we have proven and community have used to register EOS tokens. And that's what I will talk about today. And the goal here is to use MetaMask as your target wallet, but I'm sure you can do it with any other Ethereum-based wallet. I just haven't tried it, but you have to experiment. But I'll use MetaMask. Another side note, I do not recommend you use my Ether wallet. I have a friend here in San Francisco who had his about 1,000 EOS tokens stolen. So the hack, as we all know, there was a DNS hack where somebody faked my Ether wallet, and a number of people lost their money. So MetaMask is a relatively safe and easy to use approach. Let's see. So again, prerequisites: you have to use, you need to install MetaMask, obviously. And then you need to add token support to MetaMask wallet. So, for example, here's my MetaMask. So this is kind of big, but as you can see, it doesn't have like any tokens listed. Right? So let's see. Here's a token contract address that you have to add to be able to support EOS tokens. So, hold on. So instructions are pretty clear. You just have to follow them. You add token, you add contract address, which was the one listed. Token symbol is EOS. And decimal, just keep default one, add. Here you go. Right? I already have 200 something tokens in this wallet. You can click on it. You can see transactions on the blockchain. So once you do this, you add your EOS tokens. Then what you will be able to do, you will be able to see your tokens. You will be able to transfer tokens from. Let's say you bought your EOS token from Binance. Right? You have it on Binance. You can transfer it to your Ethereum address for your MetaMask, which is easy to obtain. So here you just copy address to clipboard and you get your address. So you do that. You withdraw your tokens from exchange by specifying your MetaMask Ethereum wallet address as a recipient. Then you will be able to see those tokens appear. And those 200 something tokens you see, I actually transferred from Binance. The next step, which is important, to generate your new EOS key pair. And this is the simplest way to do it. I can show you a complicated way to do it, but this is the simplest way. Basically, there's a JavaScript here on the page that all it does, it's a user JavaScript library that implements a cryptography algorithm that generates EOS key pair. It doesn't send any information to a server. In fact, you can disconnect from internet. You can just load this page, and if you're really worried about it, you can disconnect from internet, and you can still generate your EOS key locally and then store it privately. All you have to do is you click on this link, and here we go, and you generate a public and private key pair, right? And you keep your private key private. That's why it's called private. And so you record this information, and you can generate this key pair all day long. I mean, they don't need anything until you actually register it in the EOS and connect the token balance to it. Then they have value. Then, you have to keep it private. But as long as, you can see it on the screen, private key, until it starts with my balance, it doesn't, there's no risk. So you do that. Generate a key pair. Then, this is where we still use my Ether wallet, but we use it for a limited purpose, not to store our tokens, but to just use its registration ability, right? So, all the steps are really documented here. I was trying to make it as simple and easy to understand as possible. And I was just So you go to this page, you have to select a contract. And the contract that you want to select is EOS contribution, I believe. EOS contribution, correct. So then it shows this interface. It's basically a smart contract that you can interact with. And different ways that you interact. It has a register function that you can call to register your new Ethereum wallet. So let's see, you click access, you get those steps. Basically, you can register your public key and unlock wallet, and it's using your MetaMask wallet to actually register that transaction, and it creates a transaction on the Ethereum network against a smart contract to record it. So if you click, so you go here, you select the function, you want to register. You click register, and in this fields that appears, what you need to do, you need to insert your public key. The public key that you previously generated. And what it does, once you insert the public key, let me see, let me try to, because I closed the screen, I need to regenerate it again. So let's say I generated a new key pair. I just copy my public key. I go here, insert it here, and then I just click right. What is that? Yes. key. Yeah, your MetaMask needs to be unlocked at this time, right?
Click on it, yeah, scroll down.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, MetaMask. Here we go. Thank you, guys. It's been a while since I did it last time. Okay, so right. Connect. Now it's verified. Okay. Click right. Okay. Now this will generate a transaction. That I don't want to do because I have done it before. I already have a key pair associated with my address. I obviously don't want to do it. But what you would do then, you would click make transaction, which I'll just, I won't do it. But I have a screenshot of this. So you click yes, make my transaction. It will connect and create transaction in your MetaMask. You will review it. You will need to have enough Ether to spend on gas for this transaction. In this case, it's like less than $4, right? And you click submit, and you're done. And at that point on, you have registered your EOS key pair with your Ethereum wallet, and those tokens that you have in that wallet are now gonna make it to a snapshot. The snapshot will be done on June 1st. So we'll take a snapshot of all registered EOS tokens. And those registered EOS tokens will make it on a Genesis. What it means, when blockchain is launched on June 2nd, all those accounts will be pre-populated. So which means you already have your address, your EOS public key, and you have EOS not tokens, but real EOS coins now, assigned to your address, and you have that available. And last number I heard that only 13% of EOS tokens are actually registered, which means we have 87. That number may I hopefully increase. And I'm trying to increase that number. Hopefully we'll get it to 50%, right? Before we go live, at least. But all those who do not register will go onto a different snapshot. And that snapshot will not be part of Genesis. It will make it to a smart contract on EOS blockchain, and so they'll still be able to kind of go and register and claim the EOS coins, but it comes with a disclaimer. In order for this to happen, first the community needs to develop an Ethereum client for EOS 2 months after blockchain goes live. Which means if you don't register in time, you have to sit on your hands. Nothing you can do with your EOS tokens because they will be frozen on June 1st. And you have to wait for that client to come out, and so you can claim your EOS balance and use it. So that's why I really stress that you should register before June 1st. Ideally recommended 48 hours before. So you take a snapshot. Yes.
What's the core percentage? 15% or 50%?
15%. 1.5 is a magic number. So we need 15% of tokens. Yeah.
15% of the registered.
All the registered. I think so. Yeah. Because otherwise, screwed. If let's say less than 15, I think 15 of registered. Don't take it to the bank. That's my assumption. I might be wrong, but that's what I think makes sense. So after you've done your registration, there is actually a way for you, in step number 15, documents a way for you to actually validate that you have registered your Ethereum address is assigned EOS public key. So and we can do it right now. Let's see. Keys. Yeah. So let me show you. So it's instead of a register, I'll pick keys. That's just one of the functions in the smart contract. And in this case, it wants a Ethereum wallet address. So I go to my MetaMask, I'll get my address, paste it in here, and click read. This is read-only operation, so it should be straightforward. And for some reason it doesn't work. But what you're supposed to get your EOS public key back, and then you know, and it should obviously match your key pairs that you generate. And this is how you know that you successfully registered. This is my public key, so obviously that's how it works. Do I have a little bit more time? So there's something else I wanted to show you, a project, a really exciting project, for me, that we are working on. When EOS blockchain goes live, we all want to have a nice looking wallet, right? So we can ideally have it on our iPhone or mobile device. So we are working on mobile wallet application. Let me show you a preview of that. So we have a really cool guys and development team. Working on this. I just wanted to give you a preview of what it will look like. So we built an iPhone wallet, and we have some screenshots that developers are working on as we speak to develop and build it into a real app. Right? You will be able to create an account and add your keys, register. Here on the right screen, you can register your wallet keys, and then you have your account. You can see a balance. We will use a touch, fingerprint authentication for your wallet. You can create transactions. You can easily send EOS to anybody, right? And as you all know, EOS transactions are free, right? No fees for transactions. So whatever amount you send to anyone, it costs you zero. Some additional features that we want to build in. Here's an important problems that we are trying to solve here. The problem is in key management. I don't know if you heard the statistics, but 4 million of bitcoins, I don't mean 4 million of US dollars, 4 million of bitcoins as a number of bitcoins are lost forever because people lost their private keys. So lost their private keys, those bitcoins are in private wallets, nobody can access it. People, they can, if you lost your private key, you can watch your balance all day long. There's nothing you can do with it. You can't transfer it, you can't recover it, it's lost forever. And same problem for any other unmanaged blockchain, including Ethereum. If you lose the private key, you're screwed. There's no recovery. And people are inherently bad at managing their passwords and forget about long cryptographically strong private keys. How do people do it? They usually keep it in a plain text, or maybe on their computer, hard drive files, to bed. They write it on a piece of paper, maybe, and if they misspell a character again, to bed, right? Or they lose it. Or they do it unsecurely. Let's say you just keep it on Google Docs, or you send email to yourself with your private keys, right? And private keys get stolen, then your funds get stolen. So what we are trying to build, a secure way to actually secure your private keys for any wallet you have, a Bitcoin, Ethereum, any wallet you can persist on the EOS blockchain, encrypted, securely. Only you will be able to decrypt. Not only that, you can also delegate your access to. Let me just look over this. You can delegate access to, let's say, your partner, a significant other. Whoever thought about, let's say, I'm here presenting today, I'm taking a flight back home tomorrow. Who knows, right? Maybe my plane will go down. And say, I have significant amount of crypto portfolio. I want to make sure my spouse have access to those funds should anything happens to me, right? Many people don't think about that scenario. And yet it's a safety net that we are all used to in the regular financial system, and we need to have a safety net in the cryptocurrency world as well. It's just normal. That's what people expect. So that's why what we are building here, we will be able to encrypt and persist cryptographic keys on the blockchain, and also delegate access to another account. And you have an option to secure it with a password, or just have full access to somebody who can. Yeah, so those are the screens. You can reset your password, and just any standard functionality you expect from a wallet that we are building for the EOS. So we expect this to go live, hopefully by the end of June. Obviously, lots of depends on development, and so far it looks like
Okay, so thank you so much, Eugene from EOS Tribe. Again, remember to register your tokens before the mainnet launch. That was a lot of steps, so don't worry if you didn't take any notes, that's okay. We have actually created a video, a short 5-minute video at EOS Blocksmith on how to register your tokens. So we will put that up on our website at eosblocksmith.io shortly in the next couple days, so that you can just watch that video and it'll take you through the steps. Also of note, if you keep your EOS tokens on Binance, they will honor the exchange, and we'll do the exchange for you. But as us in the crypto community, we always like to keep a hold of our own tokens and have control of them. So please just register them yourselves. Also, you will not necessarily get all of the free airdrops if you just let Binance do that exchange for you. So that's another reason why you want to register your own tokens. Okay, so next we're going to have EOS Silicon Valley up, and they're going to talk a little bit about block producers and also voting.
Thank you. Hey everyone, so before I get started, I just want to give everyone a bit more context on the whole EOS space. So essentially, the whole EOS space is actually, people are participating from all across the globe. So it's not only here in the US, actually people here in South America, in China, in Europe, and it's people from everywhere from the world. And actually, so over here, sorry, yeah. So and here, I would like to I invited several Chinese PPs. They actually sent us several 1 to 2 minutes greetings video from China, just to say hello to you guys. And so let me start from this one. So this is from the CEO of Huobi Pool. So if you are a bit investors, you definitely know what Huobi is. The CEO of Huobi is saying a greeting from China. So. sound is coming on.
It's just not.
Switch to your computer. Yeah, switch to app.
所以在整个的生态变革上面，我们有完善的整体的计划，也欢迎我们广大的EOS
Yeah, so since he spoke in Chinese, so it's kind of I can do a bit of translation. Yeah, and then so the main idea is actually they're creating a whole ecosystem of all the investments into the whole EOS space, because the full name of EOS is actually Enterprise Operating System, which is that it's a platform for people to build dApps on. So as an exchange, they invested heavily just helping more and more dApps to bring on the platform, and then so we can see more and more people participating. Yeah. Okay. So let's. Yeah, so gotcha. So we got six Chinese speakers here greeting for us, and then so this is the second from EOS Canon. So we got.
Silicon Valley. It's amazing we're in different places of the world and we speak different languages, but our thoughts have been brought together by this blockchain project named EOS. So if you're an investor of EOS, I hope you can learn more on this meetup of how EOS I/O software is going to work and how it's going to change the world. If you're a developer of EOS, I hope we could communicate and cooperate more with all the other brilliant team around the globe. Together we shall build a more brilliant ecosystem for the EOS network. So, as we all know, there's only 10 more days until the mainnet to launch. So, I invite you, together we witness this miracle to happen. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks, EOS Canon. Yep. Leading VPs in China, and then so actually they're a membership group stuff like. So you need to have more than 50,000 EOS to be able to participate in their group. So they're kind of a heavily invested group in EOS. Yeah. So the third VP greetings from China we'd like to introduce today is from EOS Beijing. Just as their VP and they're from Beijing. So.
Hi everyone. Guys, I'm Lee from EOS Beijing. Our team is based on some different blockchain companies. There are programmers, miners, media, and investors. Personally, I once worked in Wubi, and now I own a fund and capital. Maybe you never heard of it, but kind of influential in China. EOS is one of the most brilliant projects I've ever seen. I fancy its ideas, consensus, and economic system. Specifically, we cooperated with some top universities in China. We are now working on a project related to trusted execution environment. The team is really brilliant, the scenario is good, and of course it's based on EOS. We will post it on Medium and Steemit maybe in next week. Hope you guys will like it. We hope it will be a killer app. Besides that, we made some EOS lessons with local media, kind of successful. There are more than 300,000 audience there. We also made an enterprise level EOS wallet. We've already made deals with 2 exchanges, with which we will support them to realize the architecture solution. Furthermore, we want to cooperate with other BP candidates. We've already set up a EOS programmers community with EOS T and EOS Alien for games with EOS Gravity. In the future, we want to work more with the people outside China. Finally, thanks to EOS Silicon Valley. Hope you guys have a nice day. Thank you.
Thank you, Beijing. Yep, so this will be the first 3. So I want to play all the 6 in one shot. So we'll play the following 3 after this quick lecture. Not lecture, just a brief intro. So hi everyone, this is Bo from EOS Valley. I'm very happy to be here, and I have to say it's a really beautiful evening, and I'm really glad to see you guys. So like what EOS Locksmith and EOS Tribe have already introduced, we are VP candidates, and so for today I'd like to give a brief intro of us, and also explaining the rules and mechanisms in voting. So yeah, so here is Silicon Valley. So our official site is eossb.io. So please feel free to check it out. So, a brief introduction for us. So as a VP candidate, different people would have to focus on different things. So for us, these are kind of our main focus and our main value proposition to the whole ecosystem. So number 1 is we assembled a world-class team that are really capable to get things done and then contribute to the whole ecosystem. And then so I don't want to go through the whole name list here, but we're a solid team. So on the second one, I would like to emphasize here is our community resources and experience to build the EOS ecosystem. Because for EOS, it's an operating system for all the decentralized applications to be on. So without all those DApps, EOS doesn't really mean too much. So enabling all those key apps to be activated and fostering a very healthy ecosystem is really key to the future success of EOS. So that's why we are mainly focusing on really bringing the resources, all the training, and also the mentoring to bring people on the platform. And the third things that we really like to focus would be the international background to bridging the West, East, and the world together. Because EOS is a global platform, and then actually we hope that all these 21 active VPs are really working together across the globe to bring people more together. So I mean, it's just because of the different geological location or cultural background or here and there will be some discrepancies or misunderstandings. So as one of the most international teams, we really want to focus just to bring people together to build a global platform. So that's a brief intro of our team. And then so today, I would like to kind of give another one-on-one lesson on how's the EOS working. So the topic we chose today is actually around the voting mechanism of EOS. So credit to Thomas here. So all the key information is also recited on the Thomas Medium post as well. So please feel free to follow him on the Medium. So let's just have a brief rundown of how the whole EOS voting stuff do, because the voting is really how we kind of make the choice of those 21 VPs. The overall voting mechanism is approval voting. So basically, if you have one EOS, you can actually have 30 votes to choose 30 VPs to vote for. So this is a whole approval voting system. And across the world, by design, there are totally 1 billion EOS circulated, which means that these 10 billion EOS is actually 10 billion votes. So based on the background situation, so all these votes will select their ideal VP candidates to cast votes for them. And then so at the end of the day, the VP candidates who are having the most votes, especially the first 21, will be the active voting candidates. So other than the 21st vote getters, we will have the following 49 vote getters to be the standby VPs. And then so don't make me wrong. So these elections are not like presidential elections. So we have a 4-year cycle for president, but we have like a 10 minutes or 12-minute cycle of the VP candidates. So in order to keep in a fluid ecosystem, we're actually quickly iterating on who is the real 21 active VP candidates to make sure that all those elected VP candidates are doing their work. And the next thing I would like to bring up here is actually the number of your EOS tokens is actually equals to the number of actual votes you have. for example, if you have 1 EOS, then your voting power is 1. If you have 100 EOS, then your voting power is 100. And then so that's vice versa. And then so some big wells, for example, from the EOS IO company, from one company, they possess 10% of the whole tokens, which is the 10 million token, to reserve for their rights to vote as well, because they want to kind of help to create the ecosystem as well. Yep, so that's the whole thing. And then so this graph is a graph explaining on why we're having the approval voting. And honestly, I don't really understand this graph as well. Yeah, so so basically this graph showing like all the major like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 types of the voting mechanisms, like I don't know how to pronounce it. It's like it's a board account, approval voting, score voting. So the main idea is the two axes. The y-axis is the simplicity of the voting, which means that how easy for you guys to conduct the vote. And on the x-axis is the kind of the magic best winner, which means that the effectiveness of the overall voting process. So according to this mechanism, so that's why we chose the approval voting to be the style of the EOS voting for now, because that's the relatively the easiest and then the most efficient and productive ways for us to cast the votes. Yeah. And then let's cover the next big question on this is why we should vote 30 BPs per 1 token. So this is actually a very important question and very interesting question. So I listed kind of 2 main scenarios here. The first scenario is our traditional election scenario, like the presidential election. Basically, is like one vote for 1 token. So under this scenario, there is actually a big problem for this, because the total circulating of the EOS token is actually 1 billion. If using this 1 vote for 1 token model, if we divide 1 billion to 21, which approximately means that if you have 50 million of EOS, you guaranteed have 1 seat as the active producer, which is not a very high barrier for this, because we know that actually at least there are 3 or 4 whales might have the scale of more than 50 million votes. So in order to kind of alleviate the possibility of people controlling the boards, we have in this kind of 30 votes for 1 token model to help people to kind of reduce the concentration of the big whales controlling the whole BP candidates. So if we do the calculation for the 30 votes for 1 token model, if we multiply the 1 billion to 30 and then divide by 21, which means that theoretically we need 1.5 billion votes to be guaranteed as a active BP candidate, which means that basically no one can really guarantee that, because the maximum EOS you can have is 1 billion for now. So for this model, this basically guaranteed that if one people is hoarding all of the EOS, he still cannot theoretically guarantee he can be the active block producer. So this way, it encouraged more collaborations. So under this model, actually all the kind of BPs are actually working together to build the ecosystem. So that's why we're hosting this meetup with EOS Blocksmith, with EOS Tribe, because on this model, we really need to collaborating with each other. We really need to kind of to work with each other, collaborating, and then by working with each other, we can earn each other's trust to build a system together. So it's more about a cooperative and collaborative way of campaigning instead of just people fighting each other. So for this model, that we are kind of more diversified and we are more collaborative, and then the whole ecosystem will be generally better. Also, since this whole voting mechanism is actually not a set one, actually the whole EOS official team, they're open to new suggestions. So that's the beauty of the people governing the whole ecosystem together. So if you have more ideas or more great ideas in proposing how we can make the voting system working more efficiently, you can feel free to reach out to anyone from Block 1 or Thomas Cox specifically. Yeah, he's pretty open to suggestions. Yep. So after explaining on how the mechanism and then why the mechanism is designed for voting, let me introduce on why voting matters. It really matters a lot. So Eugene just said only 15% of people have registered on the EOS token already, which is a fairly low number. So we can only see that people who voting might be even kind of even lower than that number. So it's like a presidential election as well. People who have EOS have the ability and also the responsibility to vote, because by voting, you can choose the best BP candidates because they are the ones who are producing the blocks on EOS platform. And they're the ones who are producing all the transactions for you. If you chose some kind of not capable enough or wrongdoing BPs, your transactions will be screwed. So you should vote on this. And also, by casting your votes, you will choose the BPs that represent your idea, can represent you, and also the ones who can represent and build the ecosystem. Because only when the whole ecosystem is built will the tokens in your hand be increasing in value. You know, we all want our EOS now worth about like $12, $15 to be 50 or even 100. And so if you're choosing the right BPs, you're making the right bet to a better future of EOS and also the higher value of your tokens. Yep, so then who should you vote for? This is a very open question, and then you can have 100 criteria for that, and then so different people are definitely entitled to have their own opinion. But for us, we kind of summarize a few things, and definitely Blocksmith and Tribe may have their own opinion, but we can definitely chime in and talk about each other. And then so for us, we listed several main bullet points. So number one is actually the bottom line. I guess we do agree with each other on this one. You have to have technical prowess. If you can't get things done, if you can't produce blocks in a responsive, 724, fast, accurate, and very high response time, you don't deserve it. So it's the bottom line. So other than this, there are several factors like the integrity with operation, because we want the BPs with high integrity who will kind of make sure and then participate in the whole arbitrage process fair and square. So that's the second part. And the third part is actually the benevolence to the ecosystem, because we are all building the whole ecosystem together. So put others in front of you is actually something we really should think about, because it's within the whole, because collaboration and working with people is hard. But if you multiply that, so people from across the globe, different language, different time zone, different culture, working together is especially hard. So we really need those benevolence to kind of think about others, to collaborate, to be able to build the whole ecosystem together. And also the last thing I'd like to mention is actually the impact and should be resourceful to the community to bring all the sources to the platform, so we will have this positive cycle of kind of more and more people coming, more dApps being created, and more resources. So we will have this positive channel going forward. So that's a quick rundown of how the voting works, why we're having this voting, and then why you should vote. Definitely, I know you have tons of questions, so feel free to ask, and then we can definitely share about it in our discussions. And then, so as EOS Economics, thank you so much for coming here. Thanks so much for EOS Blocksmith, EOS Tribe for let's call things together. And also the Tulip Conference, where is it? Where's G? Yep, Tulip Conference. So it's held in July, so it'll be a big BP gathering together, and we're so excited for that. Thank you. 3 other BPs from China. And so maybe you guys are not too familiar with the BPs in China. Actually, Chinese people are actually crazy about EOS. There are communities with like 250,000 people in EOS Gravity. So that's the next greetings from EOS Gravity. It's welcome EOS Gravity. They're based in Shanghai.
你们好，我是欧省，来自引力区。引力区里聚集了超过15万的 EOS 社群成员，我们都非常的热爱 EOS， 并且渴望用自己的力量去为它的生态贡献更多。我经常被问到的一个问题是，你们为什么叫做引力区？我想， 这其实是一个事关哲学的非常重大的问题。在物理学上，引力被认为是唯一能够穿透任何的时间和维度的作用力，而 EOS 的这种引力真的是太强大了，它把我们这些不同国家、不同文化、不同背景的人吸引到了一起。这次我们发现，通过 EOS， 我们居然不是在相互竞争，而是开始相互协作，这是多么伟大的一件事！虽然我们之间相互之间从来没有见过面，但是你们的存在对我而言是一个我能够看好 EOS 生态的极其重要的原因。我期待的是我们能通过 EOS 建立的这种非常奇妙的联系，以及我们用 EOS 去改变世界的这个梦想和机会。所以我希望下一站以 EOS 的名义，我们上海见。
Hi, I'm Myra. I'm so happy to represent EOS Gravity to communicate with all of you. China is a big and exciting market, and we're so humbled to be the biggest community. We appreciate each and every one of you. I would like to encourage everyone who wants to cooperate with us to just take the step and get in touch. We're always happy to work with you and help you move and navigate the Asian market. Together, we can build the EOS ecosystem.
嗨，大家好，我是来自 EOS 引力区的李万才博士。我在引力区主要专注于技术服务、DAPP 项目的孵化、投资基金的管理。我们 EOS 引力区目前成立了全球开发者社区、EOS 全球游戏生态联盟、EOS 全球安全技术联盟。我们针对于 DAPP， 我们还成立了引力时间的积碳项目路演。我们目前已经服务了超过10个优质的 DAPP 团队。我们还成立了规模超过2万以太坊的整个 EOS 生态发展基金。我们将通过我们的技术服务、社群服务以及我们的投资资金的支持，来完善我们整个 EOS 生态的发展。我们将助力我们 EOS DAPP 的落地，欢迎全球范围的 EOS 的优质的 DAPP 项目团队能与我们取得联系。
Thank you guys. So this is from EOS Gravity. So we have 2 more here. So this one is from Hello EOS. They're actually involved with Dance project for a long time. They're actually one of the active contributors to the Steemit platform. So welcome, Hello EOS.
Hello everyone. I am Zi Chen, the founder of Hello EOS, and also one of the featured community members. We are a VP candidate in China, and also we are firm supporters of Daniel. Also, you guys can know him as Bandmaster or PM. Ever since the release of this series in 2014, we have been observed in operating and maintaining node servers, and now we are running witnesses in this series, Steemit and Yo-Yo, and they are all based on Gravity. We have been following Daniel from his years to Steemit and now EOS. We were the earliest one introducing EOS to Chinese. We translated the white paper and guideline of EOS and many other articles in Chinese, helping the whole community for better understanding. So, blockchain and the post completely changed us. No matter who you are and where you're from, we share the same value and the same belief and the same goal of EOS. So we want the whole world to see us. This is the first time we introduce us to you guys, and wish you can know us better in the future. So wish you guys all the luck. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, EOS. That's a very warm introduction. Yep. So the last one is actually from EOS Asia, and then actually the founder of EOS Asia is from Bay Area as well, and he actually is coming from the Y Combinator.
Hi everyone.
Yep.
This is Dafon from EOS Asia.
So he co-founded the Strike Only, one of the leading mobile site builder, and so he's the warm welcome here.
EOS Asia is Asia's most technical and international block producer candidate. Our core members are backed by Silicon Valley Incubator, Y Combinator, and recognized by well-known industry hackers. I've heard that there will be a lot of people in this meetup today, so we're really happy to send our greetings from EOS Asia to friends in Silicon Valley. Now, the Valley is known to have a lot of great talent, and EOS is the most promising blockchain infrastructure right now. So I hope you take this opportunity to learn more about EOS and start building dApps on EOS and get involved. And I hope you'll join us in this movement together.
All right, so next we're going to have a little panel where people can ask us questions. So we're going to have representatives from the block producer groups come up so that you guys can ask us anything you want to ask us.
Bo, you want to? Sure.
All right. All right, go for it. Go. It's all good. It's all good. All right. Cool. So it's kind of an ad hoc panel, like just so that you guys have time to ask questions, because usually everyone's just listening. So I always ask 2 questions, right? Like in any kind of presentation, human mind is that, why do you care? What's in it for you, right? Like that's what it is. We're all selfish people. Like, you know, why do I care? What's in it for me, right? I think that's what I want to kind of bring out. What's the importance of EOS blockchain, and who are these people, and why are they putting so much sweat equity into it, working really hard to be VPs, and trying to stand up the network? So that's what we're trying to do, this panel, so you can ask questions, right? So let's get started. So let's start with the Blocksmith guys. Like, so tell me your background. I know you're a doctor, right?
Sure.
That's a big transition, doctor to a block producer. What happened, man?
Absolutely. It's a good question. So, yeah, you're right. I'm an ENT. I'm a head and neck surgeon. And, you know, kind of to answer both of your questions, I would say this. You know, throughout my career, I envisioned myself helping the world, making the world a better place. And I used to see myself as doing that through medicine. You know, I was a naive child, and I, you know, imagined going to developing countries and kind of helping, you know, villages and people. And I still want to do that. I've been on about 6 or 7 different medical mission trips to Asia, Africa, South America. But at some point when I discovered blockchain, I realized that this technology had the power to really change the world, and that at some point kind of changed my view of myself, changing the world through medicine instead through blockchain. And you know, we live in a world with extremes of wealth and poverty, and I think everyone can acknowledge that between first world and third world countries. And you know, I saw blockchain as this revolutionary technology that really had the power to help eliminate those extremes, to really empower people from all over the world and kind of take the power away from the centralization that we see in this world right now. I mean, there's no doubt there's centralization, not only of technology, but of wealth, of power, and I think blockchain has the potential to change that. And specifically, I see EOS as kind of that next evolution of blockchain with the governance system that we see in EOS. I mean, now it's revolutionary. This is a blockchain technology that has the capability to evolve with the community of users as they see fit, in the direction that they see fit. And really why I think we started EOS Blocksmith and wanted to be a part of that and help shape this in the right direction.
Cool. Eugene, you're a Valley guy. I don't know how you ended up in Utah, but you're a software architect. You've worked in the enterprise software space. You have a lot of banking and financial background. You understand financial transaction networks and what's your trajectory? Like, I mean, I was told that you worked on a lot of the EOS code, and you have a depth of experience as a developer building some of the core components of EOS. And how did you end up in the EOS ecosystem? Where did that start?
So yeah, you're right. I mean, I was part of a startup culture here in Silicon Valley. I have been involved in at least a few successful ones, as well as I worked for large corporations and companies, including Deutsche Bank and Federal Reserve Bank. And you would not believe on what kind of a dinosaur legacy system our current financial system is working. I cannot dive into details here, but it's ancient dinosaur. When I learned about blockchain, when I learned about Ripple as one example, which is not truly a cryptocurrency, but it has a good idea behind it in terms of innovations that it brings to the banking sector. And cryptocurrency overall, it's like once you get into cryptocurrency, there's no way going back.
That's right.
You're lost.
You quit your job.
It's like you make it with the rules. It's a one-way street. There's no going back.
That's right.
So
once you take the blue pill, man.
Yes, once you take a blue pill, and we're all taking blue pills here, so choose the club.
Realities are different, I guess.
I also believe that we are part of something much bigger. It's much more than just a technology. I mean, technology is great, but what we're building a new society. Really. I mean, humanity have been. I mean, I've been into philosophy and political sciences, kind of been my hobby as well. We were looking for solutions that could make the majority of people happy and prosperous, right? And none of the systems are great. There are always ups and downs with different systems. And democracy or republic, or what we have today, we still have centralization of power. With centralization of power comes corruption. It's just human nature. You cannot get rid of corruption without, getting rid of centralization. What blockchain offers is distributing the trust, distributing the power across the majority of people. So we don't have corruption, and we have full transparency in all our dealings, in our financial transactions, and I see. I mean, Bitcoin is great. It was a great proof of, it was a great concept, and it's have proven it as a goal, right? It's a success. But I see EOS as the first blockchain that embodies in itself all those qualities we need to make this brave new role, right? Because blockchain technology is distributed proof of stake, but what's more interesting, it has a governance layer, and it has judiciary. You can see all of those, government layers implemented in blockchain. So that's what's the biggest promise that I see in EOS. And when I learned about EOS, which was about a year ago, and before running testnet was even I was running a single node. I started looking into source code, and I instantly got hooked. I mean, so many people involved into this, so many people got hooked into this technology, it cannot be wrong. It just cannot. No, so many people cannot be wrong. There has to be something great about it.
So, Bo, you're a product guy. We share a profession. What happened to you, man? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, how did you catch the EOS bug? And you seem to be working with a lot of the big EOS community in Asia. It seems like 250,000 large. That's pretty. Actually, I was blown away because I was told the overall community size is 250. One group has 250,000 members. So I think like my math is completely wrong. So there are probably like over a million people like in the EOS ecosystem. So this is growing. I mean, within a year, $16 billion market cap, and EOS price is definitely kind of like going there because people are excited about it.
Yes.
I mean, it's not about. I mean, I'm not a big technical analysis guy, but I do feel like cryptocurrencies are directly connected to the holders, because it's their passion. If you look at the equity market is mostly programmed right now. It's AI and bots kind of trading, and there's little connection to human. Whereas I think that's the thing about like the community has. They're attached to the project, and they see value proposition. So tell me, like, what's your role? And I know you guys want to build partnerships and synergies. You're doing a great job in communicating that. There are all these BPs in Asia, super active. Like, what's your role, and how are you building this bridge?
Yeah, it's a great question. Yeah, so I can definitely attest to your saying that actually there's definitely way more than 250,000 EOS enthusiasts back in China.
Right.
So, in speaking of how all these things get started, I think it's kind of similar with Xiaoping's story as well. It's like we see the whole blockchain technology to be kind of it's not a new technology, but it's kind of the way the whole thing's put together that can make it possible to kind of enable so many people in Asia, China, across the world to access to a very powerful information, which is the ability to own and possess and transform and communicate their data is extremely important. Maybe we are so used to the well designed and so accessible like financing system like Chase or BOA. There are maybe 2 or 3 billion people in other parts of the world. They're not having this access, so this can really enable them to do that. And also, in speaking of the whole blockchain EOS, I totally agree with what Eugene says. It's not only about the technology; it's the governance, the economy model, how to organize, and how to put people to work together. That's kind of it's so intriguing. That's like what you said. Have the blue pill, never really go back. Because basically, when I first met it, I just spent, in average, I can say that from the day I'm really into this now, I'm averaging more than like tax for oil trading. That's a pain, really pain. And
come on, man, we gotta do better than that.
Yeah, and then so it's like
real life application, right?
Yeah, that's really that's what you
counting 101, right?
Yeah.
Get your numbers ready.
Yeah, and as part of that, you really need to hit the pain point. I think that's a really big pain point. So that's just kind of a one day example. So it's kind of because we do have our own investment funds. We actually plan to invest and actually incubate, and we have partnership with the top accelerators. We're just going to bring and attribute more dApps to the platform. That's kind of our mid to long term goal, because the whole ecosystem, everyone will benefit through more valuable and meaningful dApps. And then hopefully it's not only ICOs.
Right. So I mean, in Asia, I've seen like technology penetration is like super high.
Yes.
Like I mean, mainly like if I look at China countries, like technology adoption is extremely high. Like people are on WeChat is an amazing tool. It's an ecosystem by itself. Like I would say, if WeChat was on a blockchain, I think it would be amazing, right? Like I mean, literally everything happens on WeChat.
Yep.
So what's like? I mean, first of all, the political climate for blockchain and cryptocurrencies in China. That's one part of the question. The second part of the question is this tremendous appetite among Chinese technocrats who want to adopt this technology. Like, what are they doing? How are they kind of like building this with the climate? Like, what is a step? Like, I mean, my question is that how can the the technologists within China flourish in space, how can people outside of China can come in and connect and provide technology and come in? What are the opportunities?
Gotcha. Yeah, it's actually a very, very good question. So let me break it down into two parts. So the first part is kind of on the overall climate and stuff overall. So I'd say still the climate is not that very super shiny or super sunny. But overall, I'd say I think overall people, everybody, they do understand the huge amount of potential in the blockchain space. So people are kind of even the government, they're treating it in a more kind of a constructive way. So they definitely don't want to kind of put everything off, but they want to kind of to control it in a productive way. So for the second part of the question, so how people in China to build technology and how people from outside China to come in, I'd say the blockchain space is actually a perfect place for people to bring all these technologies together. Because I mean, for all those big companies, they are going global, and then so for all the US companies, they are going to invest in China heavily as well. So I think in the blockchain world, the technology, the governance stuff will speak for itself even more naturally. For example, for some central system like the search engine or social network, it's kind of you can control that in a more central way. But for the blockchain technology, these kind of stuff are really open, and it's really kind of worldwide connected. So that's why there's a huge following of EOS in China. People are investing; they're so enthusiastic about it. And I think this might be the chance for people from China, from the rest of the world, to really come together and build a world-class level, kind of the whole ecosystem.
So Eugene, your EOS Tribe, EOS Tribe is running for a VP candidacy. Steve is a big design adoption guy. Like, you guys have a very good niche. Like, I actually like you guys are fostering adoption, design, and usability, which just really, for me, is very refreshing as a person, because usability and adoption is a huge problem for blockchain. I mean, because literally I heard somebody said, throw this on the blockchain. It's like throwing the kitchen sink on the blockchain. It's like conversation that makes me like really irritated. It's people don't understand that it's an evolving piece of technology. The first internet, when it evolved, all you had was like a static yellow page, right? Literally, you could throw images and some text, and that's all you had. So what's like? What are you guys trying to do to like foster adoption, training, education, and what's your vision?
So I'm very lucky to meet Steve, and this cooperation is for EOS, Salt Lake City and Dallas to become EOS tribe, so to speak, like a tribe, which means as a coalition, right, of the West of United States, and we're excited about. We have some exciting projects that we are working on, and we're excited about the opportunity to be one of those block producers that we could use it and leverage it specifically for different applications and dApps on EOS Drive. We're already involved in multiple projects. One of them is wallets that I have shown. Another is Chintai platform, which is a community project. The whole idea is very exciting. It will let you as a token holder to lease your tokens and make interest as a lease. Example is, let's say, if you're in some poor country like Africa and you want to develop dApps, you will need to own certain number of tokens to pay for resources, to pay for broadband, memory, and we will let those users to actually, instead of buying those EOS tokens, who knows what is their cost, right, 1 year from now, to lease them from those who owns a lot of tokens and just pay a fraction of the cost. So, and that will just create to spread the wealth. That's one project. Another project that we shouldn't to implement, kind of, we have a long-term goal is to launch a small satellite, which will be a full node of EOS up in space, and it will serve as a backup node, an ultimate backup node, and second is it will basically broadcast blockchain information as a radio signal that Earth. So it will be available in places where you may not even have internet, you know. And so lots of applications for it. It will probably involve a much larger community. You know, kind of, it could be an expensive project, but it could be one of those legacy projects we can all talk about our grandchildren. You know?
Yeah. It's actually very interesting. I read a presentation written by a person from NASA who actually presented how to sync the Bitcoin network if over a network of microsatellites. And because the ledger needs to be synced, and you know, if let's say all government tried to restrict Bitcoin traffic or the network traffic, this guy wrote, it's pretty cool that you guys are kind of thinking beyond the internet, how to keep connected. It's really exciting. The really exciting project. That's pretty cool. I just want to kind of have any more questions, guys? Anybody in the audience? Any interesting questions? No? Cool. All right. So let's talk about schedule really. The June 2nd is the BIOS boot, right? The network heartbeat starts. It's a whole bunch of processes. I'm glad. I think we're doing a lot more events around registering the tokens, because do bear in mind, you don't register the tokens before a snapshot, you lose all your EOS tokens, right? You're kind of dead in the water unless until you're on an exchange. Again, if you're on an exchange, as Amy pointed out, that you lose airdrops. Again, airdrops. So free money, right? So free internet magic money. Sorry, I was gonna say that. So you gotta register your tokens, right? Get it off an exchange, put it in a wallet. Use one of the wallets. You know, these gentlemen are building. Maybe they can give you some more details on it. Using your voting power and to elect quality VPs like these guys, right? They're working hard, and I think they're doing the right things, and they deserve to be voted in, and not by, it's not some whale basically consuming the network, right? And it becomes like a centralized mining pool like Bitcoin. So that's the heartbeat. And then it takes about a week or 2 weeks, like for the network to stabilize. There's gonna be multiple chains spinning off, and basically like the strongest chain with the most voted chain kind of comes into existence, right? So can you walk us through the process?
Based on community discussion, and I have been involved in running multiple testnets, and based on community discussion, most likely what will happen is we will have multiple chains launched on June 2nd. Multiple chains. Then the community will decide which one is the main one, which one has the most weight and the most number of nodes, and is the most efficient and stable. So we will pick one main EOS chain. There will be other chains. Right? We don't know. It will be a one grand experiment, June 2nd. Involves the whole community. So we all, it remains to be seen what will happen. But you might have like EOS, like if we have Ethereum and Ethereum Classic, you might have EOS, main chain, you might have EOS Evolution, and so on.
Cool. So, and then it's all leading up to the conference, Field Conference, where you guys are all invited. You're going to be talking on panels. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be a big party, actually, on June 8th, right? We're throwing a big launch party, community launch party. By the way, full disclosure, we're not part of Block 1. Just put it out there. It's it's a community launch event. We're going to have awesome people from the EOS community, David Moss, Thomas Cox, who big proponents, like I have mad respect for both of them. I mean, kind of helping this evolve this ecosystem, giving guidance and mentorship, so it's going to be a big event. Tulip's going to be I'm actually excited to see all this come together. It's going to be actually EOS Canon, EOS Gravity have agreed to come to our conference. So it's going to be the largest congregation of block producers across the world. I'm very proud of that part, is that we're a global organization. We're coming together, shaking hands, and kind of trying to move this. And I'm very proud of you guys. And I would tell you that I appreciate and mad respect for all the effort you've put in this far. And I wish you all the best. And thanks for coming over.